Hi, and welcome back to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. I'm your host, Biz Cush, and I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you as a listener. I appreciate recently, I've had quite a few friends and quite a few women who are a part of my meditation group that I attend weekly tell me they've listened to the podcast, that they've shared the podcast, and how meaningful some of the episodes have been for them. So, just um, I just appreciate hearing that, but I also just appreciate actually connecting with listeners because so much of what we do as podcasters just goes out into the ether and we have no idea who's listening, how it lands, if it's a positive effect, if not. And to hear some in person feedback on the podcast has been so lovely. And if you're a listener and would like to share your thoughts on the podcast, I'd love to hear them. You can always email me through my website. You can DM me through Instagram. Um, yeah. And if you just want to reach out to share your thoughts on the podcast or um, episodes that have been meaningful to you, I would love to hear it. So this week's guest, Jess Althoff, she is great. We really connected around motherhood and anxiety, and I don't often have conversations with young moms or moms with young children these days, and so it was really, really lovely. It was really great to connect with her. But before we jump into that, if you are looking to build community with other highly sensitive women, the membership is open for registration. The Circle of Sacred Sensitivity is open for you to join. It's only $19 a month, and we gather together monthly. That's included in the $19. There are meditations, there are energy practices, there are spaces to connect with other highly sensitive women across the globe. And it's really a space for you to build a community of for us to build a community of highly sensitive women. And it's been really important for me in my life to have my circle of highly sensitive women. So it felt important to me to it that's what has driven me to build this membership because I know the value and I know how much it has served me to be in communion, be in conversation, to get support from other highly sensitive women. So if you're curious, you can go to my website, elizabethcush.com, and you will see the Circle of Sacred Sensitivity right at the top on the right. So you'll see it there, and you can click on that and learn more about it, as well as how to register. So, again, we are talking to Jess Althoff today, and she is a mom. She is a woman who has experienced anxiety, and that's impacted her life as a highly sensitive woman. So, we are sharing, she's sharing how breath work has supported her in her life and in motherhood. So, I'm really excited to share this conversation. So let's just jump in. Hey, Jess, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. I'm super excited to jump into this conversation, but I'm guessing some of our listeners may not know who you are. So if you could share a little bit about yourself, that would be awesome.
Yes, of course. I'm Jess. I write a blog called Raising Slow, and it started honestly as a way to kind of hold myself accountable because I was uh, right when I had my second baby, I just was all over the place. I was struggling with postpartum anxiety, probably some general anxiety, some rage, and I needed to figure it out. So I started writing things down and I got back into meditation. I started slowing things down. Fortunately, I was able to take a very long, extended break from working full time, which I needed to do for my mostly for my mental health, probably for my physical health as well, but and for my kids, for our whole family, for everything. And I was able to do that, and that extended break turned into spending more time trying to figure out ways to make motherhood easier for me and easier for everyone, because it's never going to be easy. There may be easy days, but it to date is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I can't, I just, it sort of became my purpose to find ways to make it better, without changing, well, not without changing society, but I'm one person and there's only so much I can do for society. So I just kept thinking about what can I do for me, for the women that I write to and speak to make this a little bit easier, to remove some of the guilt, to ease that anxiety that we all have, to be more present, have more peace, and just find small ways to enjoy it and not feel so triggered and irritable,
Mm,
and like calm our nervous systems and hopefully pass all of these skills on to our kids in ways that, at least for me, no one ever passed along to me. So I had to
yeah.
sort of figure them out as an adult.
Yeah.
And so here I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think um, I I can totally relate to what you're sharing, and that I think that I had this idea that, you get pregnant, you have a baby, you take your nurse, everything's easy. I don't know, you love your infant until, till they're uh, an adult, and that's all it is. And I can remember, with my first child, so he's now 37. Uh, but just being at home by myself, he's crying, I'm crying, the dog is crying. And just thinking, like, why didn't anybody ever share with me how hard this is?
Mm-hmm. And you
Yeah.
think, I just have this one infant, like this is supposed to, like you wanted, or at least I did, I wanted my baby so badly, like so deep and in
Mm-hmm.
a way that I can't even describe. I don't even have words for how badly I wanted these kids.
Me
And then
too.
they were here. And by most measures, I had really easy babies.
Mm-hmm.
They cried when they needed stuff and they didn't cry when they didn't. And it was still like a level of exhaustion and a level of questioning and doubting myself. Like, I thought it would, I don't know, I just had this idea that since I wanted it so bad, it would just come naturally. And
Right.
many things did, but like the exhaustion and the worry and
Mm.
the rage and the anxiety, I like everything that comes with it was just such a surprise.
Yeah.
And with my second one, who was easier, objectively easier than my first one, and my first one was a pretty easy toddler. It just was like, I am I'm in a rage. I'm irritable all the time and I can't enjoy these two perfect little humans that I wanted so badly. And now
Mm.
I'm just like tight and I don't know, it was such a surprise to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because too, no one ever talks about or associates rage with parenting, right? Like,
No, they don't. No, they do not.
yeah, yeah. But to normalize, like, I can remember being so frustrated and like knowing I didn't want to scream at the kids, and they probably weren't doing anything outrageous, but I was feeling, in some ways, I think, somewhat trapped, by the demands of
Mhm.
exhaustion and feeding and caring, and just going upstairs and like hitting the wall and being like, what is going on? Like, I
Mhm.
don't know how to handle this, and didn't
Right.
really know who to talk to about it.
And there are no, at least none that I knew of, there were no examples of a good mother who also is irritable and angry and just so tired that, like, leaving her baby to cry for 30 seconds longer because 30 seconds felt like it gave you a
Oh,
little extra. Like, there are no examples of that. It just looks like all those little things are, oh, you're a terrible mother. And as women, we hold on to this
yeah.
weight and guilt of like, oh, I just need that 30 seconds. But,
Yeah.
and this idea of, yeah, we can be very angry and also be good moms. We can be irritable and still be good moms. All the things and still be good moms. And no one ever really said that to me. Like, I just
Mhm.
assumed they were, all these negative emotions were mutually exclusive from this good mom that I felt like I needed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know you shared in the beginning of this that like you weren't really given the tools to manage your nervous system and figure out how you were feeling and to take care of yourself. I know I wasn't either. And so much of what I was feeling, like my family really didn't talk about feelings. So it was just like all inside, right? And nowhere for it to go. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it sounds like, I mean, I know too that I really wanted to do things differently. I didn't want to raise my kids in the same way as you were saying, like passing these skills on to our children. Like I wanted to be sure that I could do a different job, hopefully better job than
Yes.
I felt. Not that my mom was a bad mom or my dad was a bad parent, but
No.
they didn't have the skills either.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel wholeheartedly that both of my parents did exactly the best that they could with
Yes.
what they were given. And
Yeah.
so now I need to do better
Yep.
because they did a lot better than
Hmm.
than the tools that they were given were, which were absolutely none. I think.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
think they did a bad job. Like I said, they did the best that they could with what they had.
Yeah, yeah. And so for you, when you became a mom, it sounds like that sort of started a um, transformation or at least an awakening to do something different, to find a way to help you manage what was going on inside.
Yeah, it did. I had meditated most of my adult life, and then at some point, I mean, again, you're just so tired. At some point between my two kids, or after I don't know when, I lost my meditation practice, and that was about 3 months in with Gussie, my second kid.
Hmm.
Um, I realized, oh, this is a piece that's missing. Like, this is something that has given me peace and grounding and relieved some of the physical tightness. And I very quickly talked to my doctor and got some therapy, and I did a lot of the things um, in that first year to just. And again, like I said, I stepped away from my job. Um,
Hmm.
and I just like took a step back and just realized that I can't do any of this without taking care of myself. And that that like sort of moment of, oh, I am an important piece of this puzzle. I can't just give and not take care of myself. I have to prioritize at least a couple of things. Like, I don't need to, like, get a haircut and go to the gym or like all the things that I was used to doing before I had kids. But I did recognize that at a certain point I needed to prioritize my mental health and my physical health, and that is it. And have take some time for myself. And so we got better. My husband and I got better at scheduling. Um, we took a really long nap every Saturday. We just got a lot
Mm,
better at like recognizing that we needed to build things into our schedule that gave me at least a little bit of time alone.
mm,
And things got better, and but I still I struggled with anxiety. And looking back, I think I always had anxiety. It just manifested in different ways as a teenager and then as a young adult than how it manifests now. Now it's like a complete tightness in my chest, and
mm,
it's very physical. I feel it in my chest before I feel it, before I even can acknowledge, oh, what's going on around me.
mhm,
Um, Before I have an idea, oh, right, this is bothering me. Oh, I'm worried about this. And I, at some point, someone accidentally stumbled into a breathwork course about manifestation.
mm.
And I tend to buy too many online courses and not finish them. I'm a course hoarder a little bit, but I finished this one, and I the breathwork for manifestation never stuck. I just didn't, it didn't feel like what I needed to be doing. But I noticed that I kept being drawn to the course. Like I kept being like, oh, I should be doing this. I should clean the kitchen, but I want to take the next thing. I want to do the next thing. And I kept being drawn to it. And I wasn't sure why, but I kept thinking, oh, maybe the manifestation is working.
Mm,
Maybe this is like why I'm being drawn to it. But what I realized at the end of it is that after the lesson and then the practice, I felt so much better. I was like lighter. So
mm,
I again, my body was drawn to it because I would take these I would do these breathwork practices about manifesting, but what was happening is my chest was lightening. I could feel almost instantly like this sensation of the tightness dissolving.
mm,
And I realized, oh my gosh, it's not the course, it's the practice. And
mhm,
so I started just kind of, you find something that you're like, wow, this works for me. I love it. So I just started doing like a really deep dive into it. And then I got certified,
mm.
and it has become such like an integral part of my life. It just helps. Like the anxiety is I'm not going to ever, I don't believe I'll ever not have anxiety. I think it's
Yeah,
part of me.
yeah.
But it's mostly gone. And when I feel it coming in, I'm able to take a moment, think about, oh, what am I anxious about? Is it anything, or is it just generalized? And then I can think through the thought, like what am I actually anxious about, and kind of like like put it aside. I can't worry about that now, it's not going to help. And then breathe through the
Mm,
physical side of it, and it just makes such a huge difference for me. And I I can't believe it took me this long to recognize the physical part of our emotional sensations.
yeah,
So and it's just been incredible for me.
yeah. Well, and I feel like for and probably true for all women, but I feel like for highly sensitive women, because we feel all the sensory information so deeply within us, like
Mhm.
I know, like for me, like my anxiety was always very physical, even though I didn't know that's what it was. Like I didn't have a
Mm,
name.
I didn't
But
know.
as you said, like the chest tightening or headaches or irritability or whatever it might be. But yeah, yeah. I know I've done some breath work, but also just meditation and deep breathing
Mhm.
have been a game changer for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just like recognizing the physical piece that the emotion is attached with, so that you can um, just sort of be more aware of what's happening and what you can address. A couple of months ago, I a friend of mine passed away somewhat suddenly, and I kept having these waves of I would be going about my day, cooking dinner, picking up the kids, whatever. And I would have these waves where I just felt like my breath was getting taken away and I was
Mm,
lightheaded or nauseous. And I kept being like, what's going on? What's wrong with me? And then I would be like, oh, right. I'm grieving right now.
mm,
Take that breath, like feel into it. And so my body kept feeling this sensation of grief before
was conscious.
before yes, and it was not, I mean, it wasn't nice, but it was more pleasant than I think it could have been, because the moment that the emotion hit, I was more ready for it. I had that
Mhm.
like, oh yes, I'm grieving, and I could acknowledge it rather than it in the past, the something like that would just hit me and I would be cooking and just sort of freeze, or my kids would be talking to me and I would freeze and not know how to react. But I could kind of take that moment, feel it internally, and then be ready for the emotion to kind of take over and
Yeah.
accept it a little bit better than I think I have been able to in the past.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. It's funny to me to like um, just realize how often our bodies are speaking to us that, and
Mhm,
we're so good at sort of just charging through life and not listening.
mhm. Yeah,
Um, but I know for me, if I'm noticing like the physicality of the anxiety just as it's beginning, it's so much easier to manage and address it and be with it than like waiting until, it's time for bed and then I'm like, I can't sleep.
yeah, spinning.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Catching it on the up rather than when you're up
Yeah.
here, like, ah.
Totally. And yeah, and I can um I feel like I'm guessing probably breath work one works on a physical, like through our nervous system, through the vagus nerve and things like that. But
Mhm.
two, giving yourself permission to slow down and be with whatever's
Absolutely.
happening. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yep,
Mm,
that nice Vegas nerve toning just can really,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
bring
Well,
things
and
down.
yeah. Well, and I think too, it can be cumulative. As we continue to practice, it's easier to one, notice what's going on, but two, then be with and so you're not up here and suddenly having to manage it all, that you're kind of paying attention along the way. So it's not quite such a crisis when it hits, if it's coming.
That the accumulation aspect is has been the part that for me has been the best for my parenting. I think because when I first started getting into it, yeah, I would notice that the anxiety was going, I felt peace, and the calm would sort of last a little bit. I mean, who even knows? But I would
Hmm.
feel at ease for 20, 30 minutes after most of the time. And I could go back to it. Like if I was feeling irritable in a line, like at Target, I could go back to it whenever I needed to. But what I noticed, maybe I would say maybe a year or two in, is that my kids would do things that typically would just like make my skin crawl, or
Mm.
really, um, my older son has the tendency to um, think of a song or a line or a sound and repeat it over and over and over again. And I've gotten to the point where I don't notice it. And then I notice it, and immediately it's like I'm so annoyed. I'm like, I just want to scream at him to stop.
Mm.
But it's that like background noise to completely heightened. and I can handle, well, he's older, so we're both getting better at it, but I've noticed that I can acknowledge it and say, just be like, hey, you're doing that repeating thing again, sweetie. Like, how many times? Three. We have to, and like we can just have a conversation about it. Um,
Mm.
Instead of me being like, ah, like I
Stop
don't, it
it.
doesn't,
Yeah,
it's not,
right.
I don't feel myself get as tight immediately. I can acknowledge it without feeling my whole
Mm,
body tense. And it's just something that, yes, my nervous system has calmed the rest of the time too, which is very helpful with two boys. they are,
totally,
they want to
totally.
push the nervous system.
So, uh, maybe I should have asked this at the beginning of the interview, but being familiar with breath work, I understand it. But there may be listeners who are like, "What are they talking about? Breath work? This is like you just breathe all the time, right?" I mean, yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe give a little explanation about what breath work is like.
Yes, that is a great question. So I have a colleague who doesn't even like calling it breath work because it isn't work. We are breathing all the time, but most of us aren't breathing correctly, and most of us aren't using our breath in ways that are beneficial to us. So breath work, the practice, is about using your breath to give you the emotion and the emotional and physical states that you're looking for. So you can use your breath to give you more energy. So in the mornings, like a quicker in out than you would normally do, and hotter breaths, more forceful to kind of give you a wake up, a boost. And then as most of us know, like a deeper, slower breath into our bellies can give us a sense of calm. Breathing deeply in through our noses and then sighing out, toning the vagus nerve, actually using the voice on the way out can immediately release some of our anxiety.
Mm.
We can use breath work for clarity. We can use it to relieve anger. It can be helpful for digestion, obviously, sleep, relaxation. Different types of breath can be used for most emotions and to kind of get our bodies into a better state than what we're currently in. And then in the long term, it by giving ourselves, by stressing ourselves out by choice rather than allowing the world to stress us out, we expand our window of tolerance. So we're more able to handle the external stressors that come to us. So by doing extended holds, which are uncomfortable, and especially when you first begin, it's really like you're doing it yourself. You know you can breathe at any time, but when you're in that hold, you have this sense of like, oh my gosh, my body, this doesn't feel right. There's tension in your chest. You start feeling the tingling
Mm.
through your whole body, and that kind of stress is good for us. It pushes us a little bit farther, and it allows us to better handle everything else. So in the short term, it can just ease the anxiety, give you a boost, a little bit of mental clarity. But in the long run, it inevitably helps us handle the everyday stressors better. And it gives us a tool that we can reach for when we're out and about. It's not like yoga, where it's obvious what you're doing, but with breath work, you can, like I said, be in the line at target and just start slowly breathing, really breathing deep into your belly and counting 5 in, 7 out with a really short hold, 4 to 8 if you need, or like box breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, and just extending it as long as your physical body. The 4 can be as long as you can tolerate. But these tools help us instantly in the moment, but also in the long term, they just give you this ability to be more in touch with your body, to have a sense of safety in your body, where your body is a place of relaxation, of peace, of calm, and doesn't feel all of those physical symptoms associated with anxiety, stress, overwhelm, depression, irritability, all of it, however everybody feels them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, great explanation. And amazing to me how simple most of the techniques are. I
Mhm.
know that I often do box breathing if I am like at night sort of agitated, or I find I wake up and I'm having a hard time going back to sleep. It becomes almost meditative, because you're counting and you're breathing, and yeah, yeah, it helps me
Yeah,
take my mind away from whatever it was that was circling around.
it does. And for me, meditation has always been difficult. Breathwork gives me something sort of to do when when I'm trying to clear my mind. So it's a little simpler, at least for me, because I'm usually doing some sort of counting. I have something to focus on,
Mhm.
and it's easier than just sitting in stillness,
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
for me.
Oh, totally. No, that's why I love like guided meditations, because like just the
Yes.
quiet, and yeah, it's like, all right, I already got like lots of things to do and I'm already making my
Mhm.
lists and whatever, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Oh, goodness. Well, I appreciate so much, Jess, you're taking the time to share some of your experience, but also about breath work here on the podcast. If listeners wanted to know more about you, potentially work with you, whatever that is, where would they find you?
So I'm at raisingslow.com and on Instagram at raisingslow. And if any listeners are interested in a couple of different breathwork practices, I have a calming one and an energizing one, as well as a instantaneous, like just when you're in that overwhelm moment, at raisingslow.com/breath practices. I think it's breath
Mm,
hyphen practices.
okay.
Um, and there will be a couple that you can get kind of dip your toes in on the breathwork side.
Awesome. I will include that link in the show notes when the episode is live, and all the links to you and where to find you.
Thank you, Biz. This was great. I feel so honored to be here. I really
Oh,
am excited.
yeah, me too. I'm excited to share it with the listeners, and I just appreciate so much you coming on. It was really great.
Yes. Thank you.
I really enjoyed that conversation with Jess. She is a lovely human being, and I think that there are a lot of different forms of breath work out there. And so the things that she was describing really are different methods to help support your nervous system. And I wish I had had those tools when I was a young mom, because I definitely had some postpartum depression, but I also know that being highly sensitive, I think parenting overwhelmed me a lot, and I really didn't fully understand the impact of that on my nervous system. So I would get frustrated or angry, and I was never hurtful to my children. I didn't scream at my kids, but I kept a lot inside. I kept a whole lot inside, and I think that fed my anxiety even more. So it was lovely to talk to her about some of the practices that she has incorporated into her life, but also is now helping others. So I hope you'll check out her stuff at her website, which I will include in the show notes. And I think she called it, she said it's raisingslow.com. So you can check out her stuff there, and know that if you are a sensitive, highly sensitive mom or grandmother and you are feeling overwhelmed, we've got you. We see you. I know it can be hard, and there are ways that you can support yourself. So, again, if you're interested in joining the Circle of Sacred Sensitivity membership, we would love to have you. We would love to have you. So check it out on my website, elizabethcush.com, and reach out and join up and see us at the next meetup. Have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to connecting with you here on the podcast next time.